Ooh, 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 ooh. This is my mic test. Ooh, 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 ooh. Alright, monkey mode has been activated. Hello, everyone. This is Silksong. This is meant to be like a 100% guide to help people out with the game. Probably, hopefully, we'll remember how to edit videos. If not, oh well, I guess. But this is to hopefully help out a little bit and get some people a little bit better with Silksong who are maybe struggling. But we're gonna start in Act 1, obviously, because I don't know why you would start in any other act. But anyways, let's get right into it. Come on, Hornet, come on. All right. First thing, you probably shouldn't do it right now, but first off, in this room here we have some shell shards. Very, very useful. And then up here, there's this big guy. Now, if you do manage to kill this guy, which I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to kill him, yeah. If you do manage to kill that guy, he drops a beast shard. So, pretty useful if you do manage to get to him. But, frankly, I'm not going to be going for him right now. And that's my recommendation for a lot of things that drop beast shards early on. You'll get to a different enemy like that, where you'll probably just want to wait until a later point before you actually try to kill it. So, Moss Grotto doesn't really have much importance to it when you first come through here. It's really a lot of just walking. So, right here there is this little secret area right here that gives you a few extra shell shards. If we go through it here. But that's really about it. This place isn't really too special. We're just kind of cracking through it here. Ooh, actually, there is one thing. Actually, you'll run into it too, though. One thing you definitely want to practice here is trying to do the diagonal pogos. Maybe either off those guys, or if you can get a guy like that that's just kind of out in the open. There's a few of them that are like that. If you can manage to learn a little bit more about the pogoing, because trust me, it is a little difficult to get used to. But if you get it right, my recommendation, keep moving to the side. Like that, because that way you'll basically line up another angle by moving that direction. If you just hit and then... Second, I gotta do a little cutscene. Gotta do a little cutscene! Come on. Come on! Hornet, wake up! Wake up! Okay, thank you. Like, if you do this and then you like walk back and do this, it's a little slower than if you go bam, 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 like that. Big recommendation there if you're running with the Hunter's Crest. Obviously, you know, there's other ones. And I'm going to try throughout the experience to swap crests often enough just to have some sort of semblance of not just use one. Because one thing I personally think in this game, if you solely run off of one crest, you kinda hurt yourself more. Not that you need to constantly swap crests, but sometimes there are just situations that... There are situations where the witch crest is just ass, or like... what's the other one I'm thinking of? Witch crest, beast crest. I had my good friend Bob Ross the Boss, he kinda always used the beast crest, and then he gave up on it, and then he had like more fun for a little bit. Ooh. This, we'll have to come back to this later, simply because no way into it right now. I will be trying to edit out dead air, but if I just keep talking, there will be no dead air. If you nail bounce off that guy, you can get to this mossberry. It's pretty useful. You'll need it for a quest here in a moment. Down here, get you some extra shell shards. If you follow down a little further. And then if you... Come on, little moss grub. The moss grub gets himself just right. You can bounce yourself back up here. Nice little skip. Now if you press space on the wall there, like I was doing, you'll bounce yourself higher. It's not as high as just a standard jump though. Or it can be, but it can't be. It's a little confusing. Alright, come on. Come on, Hornet. Come on. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Okay, there we go. Back to the game. So, you go here. This is all mandated again, so this is just gonna kind of be walking through it here. Into the moss mother. I don't really know who needs advice on this thing. It's pretty easy, all things considered. Like, ooh, scary. The only thing I can kind of recommend is if you are getting hit, like me, because I'm trying to up-slash her. I'm telling you, up-slashing is a lie in this game. I'll just tell you that now. Half the stuff in this game will punish you just for trying to stand under it and up-slash. But I believe, if I'm correct, this boss is a bit of an exception, because if you manage to stay under it at the right angle, it won't even matter. Yeah. And now, I believe it will be dead here in a few hits, yeah. But it's really not that bad of a boss. It's the first one in the game. Again, up here. Oh, bro, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Please? She didn't wake up. Sorry guys, the playthrough's over. Hornet fell asleep. Obviously your task's getting to the Citadel. Now there are two ways to get to the Citadel. I'm gonna go over both. Not gonna start Act 2 until I kill both though. There is a silly roundabout way to do that. But walking forward a little bit, don't fall in the pit. And we are in Bone Bottom. This place is alright. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to do when you first come here. So really, you're probably just gonna sit on the bench and walk away. Unless you want to talk to everyone here. This guy does sell stuff. Once he's sold everything, he disappears. So that's good to keep in mind. Now, do also note, there are some NPCs that later on you can get their items from for free. However, it's not well documented yet which NPC, which items those are. So you very easily could kind of soft lock yourself. So I would recommend trying to buy stuff when you get it available. But if I'm aware of certain areas where it doesn't matter, I will just say it out loud. So, navigating through the marrow here. This place is honestly not that bad. I feel like this is pretty much the equivalent to the Forgotten Crossroads in terms of difficulty. But overall, pretty simple area. There's never really like a part 2 to this segment like there are other ones that do get a lot fucking deadlier. It's right here. I believe there's a little secret room. There is. Just run through here first and then run back. Falling rocks do not respawn in rooms, so if there's falling rocks and you just want to like, kind of get them out of the way, absolutely do that first. Now rosaries in this game are a little hard to come across early on. Later game you'll have excessive amounts of them, but early on they are very hard to come by, and the pricing of it I believe had to be nerfed. I mean, or buffed, I mean. Because people were not very happy about how expensive things were. Which is fair, you know. You don't want to have to play the game and just grind incessantly. I want to play the game, not farm. But this arena here, it's not really anything special, it's just kind of going through. Now keep in mind, there are a lot more enemies that do double damage in this game than the first one, by a pretty fucking large margin. So, open that up, get yourself a little shortcut right there. We love you, Sherma. These little things occasionally show up, and they're just kind of for getting a few extra rosaries. They kind of suck at their job, though, to be honest, because rosaries will just kind of roll off the screen. Sometimes. That in general, rosary physics are a bit silly. No, there are a lot of benches you have to pay for in this game. Part of why everything's really expensive compared to the other areas of the game. Or, well, the first game, where I believe there's only like 5 or 6 paid benches in total, something of the sort. So, the marrow in general, not really that bad. As I said before, we're just kind of gonna get through this pretty easily. I believe this pathway is locked. Yes, it is. If you go that way, there's just kind of a bridge that you can't make the other side for right now. This is the way to the flea caravan up there, which we'll go take a look at that here in a moment. I'm trying to recall. Yeah. Yeah, because this opens up a little shortcut. Now, the only thing I would say you had to worry about in the marrow is that skull guy I just killed, because he does double damage. Everything else here is kind of just like a standard run-of-the-mill, like, evil-ass enemy that doesn't really do that much. Oh yeah, so here's one of the first charms we can get a hold of. So there's 3 types of charms: yellows, blues, and reds, which we'll get to reds later on in the marrow, and blues as well. But right now there's just yellows. Obviously, if he's sitting on a bench, similar to the first game. I would be careful with the what's it called? I would be a little careful with your charms, just solely because you don't really have a lot of them. But at the same time, it's not like the Hollow Knight system where they have notches. Instead, you just kind of put stuff in and it works. So, this thing's just kind of annoying to deal with, that thing right there. Because all it just does is it just protects itself. And you can't hit it while it's protecting itself. I believe there's a rosary string. Those occasionally show up. They're just stored packages of rosaries that don't disappear when you die. They're pretty useful if you die a lot. I definitely wouldn't just break them open willy-nilly. But if you're decent at the game, you know you're not going to be dying every 3 seconds. It's kind of a waste of your time. Now, healing 2 in this game, also help advise you. Do not heal like just right in front of an enemy. It's not like Hollow Knight where you're a little where you're able to kind of get away with a lot. Hollow Knight's heals a lot faster than silksong's, and if you get hit, it's like, oh, willy-nilly. Oh, gee willikers. Let me just ignore that.
That's fine.
So this is the flea caravan here. You won't really need to focus on these guys too much for a while. They'll just give you a quest here called the Lost Fleas. Basically, you have to find 5 fleas around Farloom, and then come back to these guys. They do have a little bench here, though, which is good, so that we can put the shard pendant on. The shard pendant just makes it so enemies drop more shell shards. It's pretty useful. But I believe that marks the end of this little... Yep, it does. I tried to walk past him. I don't have a dash that, so. You can tell I am getting a little more from them. Those guys are dropping 4 instead of 3 now, which isn't a whole lot, but it definitely adds up. And this game, show shards are definitely one of the more controversial mechanics. So the more of them you have, the better you go. If you get up here, you'll notice that this side is blocked up right now, so we need to head left. And heading this way, I believe this is kind of just a boring little walk right now. It is. There's a little light right there that you need to hit, and then you need to come back up here. There's some rosaries right here, a nice little, I think this is, yeah, 40. So, there's a good few chunks of rosaries around, but nothing too big. We're gonna hear someone singing here in a second. We love people who sing. This is a little shortcut just for you to be able to get back up here. So this is Shakra. Just chill. Really likes her hoops. And is the map seller in this game. So I believe, do I have enough? I barely don't have enough. So I'm gonna buy the quill and I'm gonna buy the marrow map. And then I'm gonna come back over to her to buy the final map. Because as you can tell, I'm kind of missing enough just for the Mosslands map. By the time you find her in the next area, you'll have enough to buy the next map too, though. So I wouldn't worry about that. Here we go. I thought I was gonna have to go a little further than that, but I'm not complaining. But Mosslands map. Get through with that. Now, there's 2 ways to go. We can either go up there or up left this way. I'm gonna head left this way, solely because it looks a little different. Showing you the pilgrims getting fucked with. So the pilgrims aren't really that big of an issue to actually fight. They're one of the few. Anything pilgrim related drops rosaries in the game. Every enemy that's not pilgrim related will not drop rosaries. So those pilgrim based enemies are a constant source of money. Here, this guy, and then I believe there are 2 more. Oh, only 1 more. And here we got a little bench. Got a quill so that we can actually write down. If we check the map here, we can see we have a little bit to the left and down, but it looks like primarily we're just going to be heading up in this little room right here. Oh, this way. Sorry, yawning. So if we head this way, you'll see a little guy. Oh, poor little guy, and we can't get to him. As you can tell, those silks will just infinitely reproduce themselves and regenerate, so there's no way of getting through that normally. But we're not normal. Oh yeah, this thing is kind of annoying. It kind of backs away and spits moss. You can destroy it with your pen. Very helpful. I didn't know that I could destroy them with my pen on my first playthrough, and it was really annoying dealing with them. But you can do that. Additionally, you can hit this guy up like that to just not have to deal with him entirely. So that's a pretty good way to go about it. I realized I was still muted that entire time, and I feel so silly that I got to this point, not realizing that I was muted. I had a work call, so I'm back now. I'm good. I'm good to go. So, continuing on with Silk Spear now. That was a bit silly that forgot about that. Going through here, going down here. Now, nothing here is an issue really either in the second half of Moss Grotto, if you can call this a second half. Frankly, it's pretty easy overall. Now this stuff gives you infinite silk as well, so you're able to get enough to use Silk Spear. Silk Spear is the only tool that you ever actually have to quote-unquote need, like have to use. So, we went that way for a moment. We're gonna go dive down here and take a right to grab this guy right here who has a mossberry. And now that we have that third mossberry, if you got the other two from the bottom of Moss Grotto, the Moss Home, or whatever the hell it's called, we go up to this NPC. Hello, Moss Druid. Give me your fucking ability. So, berry picking quest, it's just to find 3 moss berries. If you've done what I've done up to this point, you should have all 3. And then she'll just make them. Like a nice little eye for you, I think it is. So she'll hand it out right here. Wish granted. This game's conversion of missions are referred to as wishes. There we go, the Druid's Eye. The Druid's Eye is a blue. It's the first blue in the game. So, yellows tend to affect your traversal and farming more so than most of the other stuff. Meanwhile, the blues have a tendency more so to affect your overall combat experience a lot more. With most of the blues doing something combat related. Such as the mossberry, where now whenever I'm going to take damage, I'm going to have a little effect on me. So basically all it does is, it's the equivalent of the grub, the first grub charm in the first game where you get soul off taking damage. It's effectively that. This right here, I wouldn't suggest going and trying to cross that right now. You can, but you won't like what's on the other side. And I don't think you'll have any way to deal with it either. So right here, you get a few little rosaries, and a shortcut right down there to Bone Bottom. If you want to go down there and spend some money, I'm not going to do that right now. I'll come back there later. But we are good right now on that front. There is another mossberry right there. The issue being that you would have to bounce off this guy's head in order to get to it, and you don't really have any rebound if you mess up your pogo, so I wouldn't recommend trying to get that one, but that one does exist. For the NPC that actually cook your mossberries, if you hand them any more afterwards, they'll give you some rosaries. Eventually they'll give you an upgraded version of the Druid's Eyes too, if you hand them enough. Which, very good to keep in mind that, because it's a pretty good difference. Now in here, there's a little secret. It gives you this spool fragment, so there are 18 of those in the game. Every 2 gives you 1 extra line of silk that you can hold. Overall, really fucking good. Obviously you'll want to get as many as you can, because they're the equivalent of the vessel fragments. But there are a lot more of them than the vessel fragments. So going here, just to try and get a few extra rosaries, we are going to try and smite this guy. If he shows back up. There he is, right there. As you can see, I messed up, and now I'm back in Bone Bottom. Hey guys, what's going on? However, this elevator will just kind of be here now. It'll just go where I need to go. So, it doesn't really matter if I mess that up. I want to try and do it for just to show you. But at the same time, it is kind of a pain in the ass. Just because, obviously, as you can tell, he's not very easy to hit. Hell yeah. Just silk spear him. Take that out. Now, we're going back up. Now this is sort of kind of a shortcut for where that guy just was. It will get you there just a little faster. There are, I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are quite a few little areas where you could definitely enemy bounce off an enemy to get somewhere where you're not supposed to be able to get to. That's pretty persistent in this game. I'd say that it's honestly more persistent in this game than in the Hollow Knight, the first one. I could be wrong on that, but I personally just felt it that way, especially early on when you don't have your dash or your anything else. Hello, crazy lady. So, handing him extra rot moss berries. That's a nice 150 rosaries, so it's definitely worth wrangling that extra moss berry. Or any moss berries, really, that you can get a hold of. So heading back this way now, we're gonna go where the sign tells us to go. And we're onto the Bell Beast battle. Now the Bell Beast is the first real fight, I'd say. It's really not, it's not the worst fight, mostly because it's really not that bad, but it is a bit difficult. So, he'll jump out of the ground occasionally, shoot some bells around. Other than that, really, he's just kind of a moss charger. That's a little harder to kill, because you can't stun lock it. He'll make a little roar when he's about to jump. Still, when he goes in the middle there, that means he's doing his little bells. So really, you're just gonna continuously wait for him to land. When he does that roar, that means he's now in his second phase. What does that entail? Bells from the sky. And usually it's still pretty easy to get away from it. So, him a few more times. He should go down here in a moment now. Additionally, his second phase will spawn more bells. This game has a big fascination with bells. And not just like one bell, like just kind of casually having like 80 million bells. So anything ways this thing will show up. This is an upgrade, but it doesn't preface itself as one. But it's an upgrade. It's one silk heart out of 3. They'll have this little parkour segment. You just climb up the platform, jump. Hitting this thing will make it go up. Okay. Okay. You guys saw that. I'm sure you guys saw that. That was horrible. Okay, we can hit this one. Get on this, climb up here, knock this one up to the top, and then just pick that up. So this is, I think the game, yeah, this is a silk cart. So you'll passively gain a little bit of silk. Now, from now on, it'll only be your first node of silk that you'll passively gain, but it does effectively mean you have infinite silk. As you see here. Now once we do go up here, we do meet the Bell Beast. So he is the fast travel option in the game after you defeat him. There are 12 bellways in the entire game. 10 of them you have to pay money for. As you can see, we just went to the first 2, so all the other ones now cost money. Now there are a few quests up here. Bone Bottom Repairs is here. This is just donating some shell shards. We don't really need them right now, so it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. And then the Garb of the Pilgrims. This is just a little fetch quest to go grab some Garbs. We're probably going to go do that and then head off for the day. Looking through here, you can see Simple Key is 500. That's what we're trying to go for right now. You can get the Magnetite Brooch, which just teleports rosaries to you. However, it's not really as useful early on since not many enemies drop rosaries, and you're getting a lot of them from selling things or certain chunks, things like that. We can, however, see from our money right now, we have 30 here, so we have 60. We have 420 rosaries, which means that we need to produce an extra few. So to get this wish here, you can check through the charms. We need 12 pilgrim garbs. That's about the equivalent of the majority of the pilgrims we've seen so far. So we'll get that goal as we go on our little merry journey. If you hear the humming, that's also just Shakra. Shakra will be in Bone Bottom until you get to a different village, in which she leaves and never comes back to this place. We'll climb up here, and then these pilgrims, you'll be able to interact with their bodies and pick up their shawls. There are 12 that you need, so you'll get the majority of them from just this little segment here, since it's right here. I believe the reward is a full rosary string with 120 rosaries, so it's a pretty good offer. So one right there, one right there. It puts us at 5. There are some pilgrims in this room now. After you initially see pilgrims, they'll start showing up in here. Right now, I guess they aren't, but they do show up later. So, heading this way. It's the rest of them. There should be, I believe, about 14 pilgrims in total. This early on. See here, 1 pilgrim shaw, 2, and then there's a 3rd and a 4th up here. This guy. There we go. Keep in mind, it's their bodies that you need, not their other thing that I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's the bodies you need, not their like where their money and stuff is dropped. Now that is pretty nice to get a hold of that. They did buff the money gain for some of the characters, some of the enemies. Pilgrims used to all drop 5, now a few of them will drop a little more. I believe 10. And this way. Like this guy, if he falls and he lands not in the spikes but on the floor, he does count. That guy didn't because he's stupid, so we're gonna have to just keep going. This guy, he bounces out of the ground so we can pick up his shawl. And there's 2 guys up here. Here, and that was the last shawl we needed. So Wish has been updated. Now there are 2 ways to get back down. I will bring this up now. Bench warping is always a valid tactic. If you have sat at the bone bottom bench and you just want to kind of go all the way back down there, it's completely valid and alright to do that. I'm going to try to limit how much I bench warp, for the sole purpose that I don't want to do that a lot. As you see there, I could almost cross the other side. I don't want to right now though, so. Here we go this way again, and we'll deposit the shaws and look at the little shopkeeper here and probably call it in for the day. I do have work. So, yeah, that gives us a full rosary necklace with 120 rosaries. I don't believe we need that for what we're trying to even get a hold of. We do, just barely. So, I was trying to get a hold of the simple key here. However, it's also getting the crafts medal. Because we don't really need the simple key right now, I'm just going to grab the mask shard and the crafts medal. Now, if you're afraid of dying, and you want to make sure that you get the value out of your money, either convert them into rosary strings or buy the magnetite brooch, one of the 2. For me, I'm just going to do that because I absolutely will die, and also at the same time, I'm planning on getting everything, so I'm not really worried about not getting something. The simple key, when we do get a hold of it, we're probably going to use it to that area to the left of the top of Bone Bottom. But for right now, we're not going to do that. Next episode, we're just going to explore the rest of the marrow and into the area to the right of the marrow. And then the one after that, probably the area to the right, oh, the area to the right. So, yeah, this is it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys later.